Hello everyone and welcome to this Google Digital Garage training session, Get Your Business Visible on Google. My name's Kirsty and I'm a trainer for Google's free skills training program, Google Digital Garage. A bit about myself, I've been working in this industry now for 6 or 7 years and I absolutely love working with small businesses, startups and individuals actually looking to build a career within digital marketing. But I'm not up here alone. You may have already said hello to our wonderful moderator, Tessa, who is in the chat, saying hello to you all, welcoming you into today's session. What I would love for you to do is go and talk to Tessa in the chat there. Go and say hello, let her know where you're signing in from, what's the business, and actually what drew you to today's session. Is there something particular that you're here for today that you thought, oh, this might help me with this as part of my business, and I'm really looking forward to learning this or this? Because I would love to absolutely hear that. And I can see Tessa is passing over loads of hellos there, so I'll wait for a couple more to come in and then I'll go through and say hello. Now, Tessa's also a Google Digital Garage coach, a mentor, and is going to be in that chat throughout the entirety of the next hour that we have together. She's going to be answering some of your questions. She's going to be passing on some comments and questions to myself to answer as we pause. And also she's going to be sharing some fantastic links as we move through the content today. So make sure any links that Tessa does put in that chat to the right-hand side of this video, you save those links and make use of them as you finish with us today and kind of move into the rest of your year. While you're saying hello and while Tessa's kind of passing some of those hellos over, I'd love to go through a little bit of housekeeping. So first of all, if you do at any point throughout the session have any problems hearing or seeing the YouTube screen or this live session, try refreshing your browser. Sometimes it just resets YouTube and then you'll be able to hear and see everything clearly and also interact with us in that chat. If you are looking for the chat and you're on a mobile device, sometimes the chat will be underneath the video and you have to scroll down instead of it being to the right if you're on a desktop. You will need to make sure that you are signed into your YouTube account in order to be able to chat with us, like everyone is doing in that chat at the moment. So make sure you're signed in and that should work quite quickly for you to be able to interact with us. Remember, we can't hear you, we can't see you, but we can make this session feel like we are all sat in the same, probably maybe we want the heating on, a little cozy room together where we can have a chat and really make sure that you're getting the most out of this session as possible. Like I said, I will be pausing to answer any of those extra questions that Tessa feels everyone would benefit from hearing an answer to. So she's going to pass a couple of those on to me. But also remember that you can ask questions at any point throughout the session. And finally, we are coming to the end of the year, but we still have a broad offering of different sessions that you can really get on board with before we break up for that end of year break. Have a look at the description of this video just below me actually, and you'll be able to see the link to our Google Digital Garage website where you can have a look at all the upcoming courses that are on offer, and you can also have a look at the schedule and see if there's anything else that you can fit in before the end of the year. That's the housekeeping. Let me have a look. So we've got Daniel in Northampton, Hampshire. Still didn't say it right. But yeah, looking forward to the session too. We got Lucy again in Northampton again. Claire, oh, there's loads of you in Northamptonshire. There you go. If there's so many of you from there, I might as well attempt to say it right, eh? And then we've got Mark, hello, Chloe, hello, Sheesh, hello, Jason, and Pushkin, and there's so many more of you in the chat as well. So thank you so much for all of your hellos. We really appreciate that interaction. It's the best way that we can make sure you're getting the most out of these sessions. So that's all the intros done and the housekeeping. Let's jump into how we're going to separate the session, shall we? We're going to separate it up into 3 clear areas. First of all, I want to start thinking about how we understand exactly how our customers are finding our business. How do they find us? Once we start to think about that, I want to move through into part 2 of today's section, which is about building our presence within search, but also within Google Maps. And then finally, I want to leave you with some top tips around continuing to improve your visibility on Google. So that's how we're going to separate the session into those 3 clear sections. And before I jump into section 1, I also want to let you know about this amazing opportunity for one-to-one mentoring from Google. You can access this opportunity via the link on the screen, and I'm sure Tessa will pop that in the chat for everyone as well, g.co/UK mentoring. Now, you as a small business, a charity, a sole trader, someone with a business idea that needs kind of help getting in the right direction, can sign up for one-to-one mentoring sessions, completely no cost, with a coach like myself, like Tessa, and many, many more people with different specialisms across our team. These sessions, like I said, are completely no cost, and you can talk about absolutely anything that you need help with in that digital realm. So it might be that after today's session, you want to follow up with certain questions that are specific to your business about what we've talked about today. But then in some cases, you might think, oh, but I need to sign up again and I want to talk about social media, or I want to talk about my ad strategy. We can accommodate that, and you can book more than just one-to-one mentoring session too. So let's kick off. Let's think about some stats behind getting visible and why it's important to start building this presence on search and on places like Maps. 3 out of 4 online customers use a search engine to find a business. Now, in the chat, give me an emoji, any emoji, if you use search to find businesses that you would like to buy something off, use research, contact, to find any new business. Do you use a search engine? If so, give me an emoji in the chat so I can see them coming through. And the second stat there, 82% of smartphone users reported routinely conducting local mobile searches. So not only are 3 out of 4 people looking to find businesses within search, but 82% of smartphone users are actually looking for businesses that are local to them. And I can see loads of emojis that save Tessa a load of copy and pasting there. I can see loads of different emojis coming through there. So yeah, an example of how many of you are actually using your search engines to find businesses that you would like to purchase from, to book, to inquire, to do some research into something that you're interested in. So start thinking about that behavior, depending on what you're doing as an organization, as a charity, as a small business, as a startup. How are you starting to understand how your customers are searching for your business? And that brings us to our first section, which is all about how customers find us. So stick with me here in the chat. If we were all in the same place right now and we thought, right, we're going to go out for pizza. We're going to go for pizza tonight. I love pizza. And after this session, I always want pizza. It's like my favorite takeaway. So we're going out for pizza. We want to find a restaurant that is local to us. And you think, right, okay, so I need to find somewhere that's new, exciting, and that's local. If I told you right now to pull out your phone and look for a pizza shop local to you, tell me in the chat, how would you search for a local pizza restaurant? How would you do that on your phone? Is there a particular app that you would use? Is there a certain type of question that you would actually ask? Tell me. And if you've got your phone on you or you've got a tab that you can open, can you do that for me? Can you go and search what you would search in the place you would search it? If you've got your phone, great, use your phone and look at the results that come up. And the next thing I want you to tell me in the chat, once you're looking at those results on your phone, how would you choose which one is the one you're going to go to or make a booking for? What would sway you to select one of those restaurants that you can see on your phone? And I can see a couple coming through there. Mrs. Lammy, pizza near me. Yeah, so that search phrase there on the screen is definitely a popular search term. Tasha, pizza shop near me, absolutely. You'd look for pizza, my town, yeah. So we're starting to look for those local ratings, right? Things that we can get to easily. And then the second part of that, how would you actually make the choice? How would you decide which pizza restaurant is going to get your vote? And Pushkin there with all capitals, the one with the best rating and some good pictures. I agree, right? There's nothing better than actually being able to see the product. And I don't mean these airbrushed versions of a product, because we've got quite good eyes now as customers, right? We can sort of start to tell when something is a bit stock imagey, and it kind of puts us off. So we want real pictures. We want a real rating, and those ratings, of course, come from reviews. So we want to have a look at those reviews, the star ratings, the experience, the social proof from other potential customers. The top list and the map, yeah. Interesting, in terms of the way that you're searching, would anybody go straight to Google Maps over a Google search? Would anybody do that? Depends how hungry I was. Maybe I'd go for the nearest. Yes, John, absolutely is a factor, right? Sometimes we want something quick and easy. So if it fits our price range and our budget that we've got, and we can see that the photos look all right, the reviews are good, yeah. Jason, I'd usually go to Maps. Yeah, nice. Cool. So quite a few of you saying potentially you would go to Maps. And if you were in a different town, yeah, okay, amazing. Now, I have noticed a change in myself, actually, and there's been a huge change in terms of our consumers and the way people are searching online. And it's really interesting because usually, and even the way that we search, think about the first time you ever made a search. One-word answers or one-word questions. And then think about the way you search now. We actually ask full-on questions to this search engine, right? So it's really interesting when we start thinking about some of those search terms and putting out as a business, starting to translate this into our own industry. How are people that you want to get in front of with your organization, your business, how are they looking for the services, the information, the products that you sell? What's the language of their questions? What descriptive words do they use? What's then, take it a step further, what's then going to sway them to go, yeah, this is the one for me. I want to inquire with them. I want to book with them. I want to order from them. And there's loads of things that you've pointed out already. I didn't even have to do anything. Reviews, photos. Absolutely. So there's a few different ways, and we'll call them let's call them the core ways that people can find us. And the way that we need to start thinking as businesses is starting to think about actually how your consumer or customer's behavior is happening for your business online. And there's 3 steps. First of all, we kick off with searching. Usually, and we've seen 85% of us on our phones, we're looking at our phones, we're looking at a search engine, we're looking at maps, and we make that search. As consumers, during that search process, we have become very, very, what's the word I'm looking for? We've got high expectations when it comes to the amount of information that we can find. And again, give me an emoji, give me and Tessa emojis in the chat if you identify with the scenario. You've searched for something and you expect to get a certain level of information and you can't find what you need from the business you thought you were going to go for. It's too hard to find on their website. They don't have a number, whatever it is you need. So you press back and you think, oh, I'll come back to it later. And actually, sometimes you end up going for a competitor because that competitor had the information you were looking for straight away. Yeah, I can see emojis coming through there as well. Yeah. So again, always think of yourself as a consumer and how you start with that step one, search. How high are your expectations in terms of what you expect to receive in that search engine from the product or the service, the industry that you're looking into? It's all about curiosity. And the way that we're asking questions is continuously evolving. With our kind of speech to text and our smart speakers, the detail of the type of questions that we can ask is continuously evolving. That's not going to change. So what we need to do as businesses is start capturing that curiosity and making sure that scenario that I've just described, it's not going to happen to the majority of our customers, because we're thinking of them and putting ourselves in their shoes of what information do they need from us? What's going to turn them off? What's going to attract them to go further from that first step of search of that customer journey? The next step of a customer journey is the decision process. And then as a consumer, this is where we start looking, just like you did with that pizza activity that was just done. We start looking at all the options in front of us, whether that's in search, maps, someone mentioned TripAdvisor, so any of those different platforms. And we start thinking, okay, which service is giving me what I need and what I'm looking for in terms of that information? And all of those things will be looking at the distance of that business, depending on what it is, looking at the price range. Maybe if it's something that's not local and you're getting it sent to you, the postage, the price, how much is it going to cost to get to me as a product? Reviews, ratings, pictures. So there's going to be all of these elements that we consider and use as part of that decision process. And the third step of our online search journey is the engagement. How can we get what we need right now? Is the contact button as clear as possible? Can I put something in my basket and go through a nice and simple payment phrase with no surprises of postage and packing prices that I didn't know existed when I put it in my basket? Again, as consumers in this third step, we have expectations of how things should work. And we're more impatient than ever because we're used to things happening as quick as possible. So for your businesses, for you all in the audience today, start plotting this out. Start plotting that 1, 2, 3. What is my customer journey? How are they starting to search? What are the things that are going to be important to them to make that decision to stay with me as a business? And how do I want them to engage? And the way that I want them to engage, is that easy for them to do? Really, really important. Which brings us to the question, why is search important? And it's really interesting when I talk to business owners, actually. They've got a website and they've kind of maybe semi-opened a social media page, and it's sort of this development of, we used to be able to build a website and people would find us, but it's just not the case. It's just not the case anymore. We can have an amazing website, but if we don't make an effort to fill up other areas of that customer journey, potentially we're still not going to have anyone coming to that site and gathering interest in what we do. So to be found, we need to understand how search works and how we can start to appear in front of the people we want to appear in front of. Now, what I've just thought is, I don't know if I shared the sound to this video. So what I'm going to do is very quickly unshare and reshare my screen so that you can hear this great video that I'm about to play for you. So here you go, perfect. This video is part of the Google search official YouTube, and I'm sure Tessa can share the link for you to rewatch it because it's very, very useful. And it's all about how search works.
Every day, billions of people come here with questions about all kinds of things. Sometimes we even get questions about Google search itself, like how this whole thing actually works. And while this is a subject entire books have been written about, there's a good chance you're in the market for something a little more concise. So let's say it's getting close to dinner and you want a recipe for lasagna. You've probably seen this before, but let's go a little deeper. Since the beginning, back when the homepage looked like this, Google has been continuously mapping the web, hundreds of billions of pages, to create something called an index. Think of it as the giant library we look through whenever you do a search for lasagna or anything else. Now, the word lasagna shows up a lot on the web. Pages about the history of lasagna, articles by scientists whose last name happened to be lasagna, stuff other people might be looking for. But if you're hungry, randomly clicking through millions of links is no fun. This is where Google's ranking algorithms come into play. First, they try to understand what you're looking for, so they can be helpful even if you don't know exactly the right words to use or if your spelling is a little off. Then they sift through millions of possible matches in the index and automatically assemble a page that tries to put the most relevant information up top for you to choose from. Okay, now we have some results. But how did the algorithms actually decide what made it onto the first page? There are hundreds of factors that go into ranking search results, so let's talk about a few of them. You may already know that pages containing the words you search for are more likely to end up at the top. No surprise there. But the location of those words, like in the page's title or in an image's caption, those are factors too. There's a lot more to ranking than just words. Back when Google got started, we looked at how pages link to each other to better understand what pages were about and how important and trustworthy they seemed. Today, linking is still an important factor. Another factor is location, where a search happens. Because if you happen to be in Ormea, Italy, you might be looking for information about their annual lasagna festival. But if you're in Omaha, Nebraska, you probably aren't. When a web page was uploaded is an important factor too. Pages published more recently often have more accurate information, especially in the case of a rapidly developing news story. Of course, not every site on the web is trying to be helpful. Just like with robocalls on your phone or spam in your email, there are a lot of sites that only exist to scam, and every day scammers upload millions more of them. So just because instantvirusdownload.net lists the words lasagna recipe 400 times, that doesn't mean it's going to help you make dinner. We spend a lot of time trying to stay one step ahead of tricks like these, making sure our algorithms can recognize scam sites and flag them before they make it to your search results page. So let's review. Billions of times a day, whenever someone searches for lasagna, or resume writing tips, or how to swaddle a baby, or anything else, Google software locates all the potentially relevant results on the web, removes all the spam, and ranks them based on hundreds of factors like keywords, links, location, and freshness. Okay, good time to take a breath. This last part is about how we make changes to search, and it's important. Since 1998, when Google went online, people seem to have found our results pretty helpful. But the web is always changing, and people are always searching for new things. In fact, 1 in every 7 searches is for something that's never been typed into the search box before, by anyone, ever. So we're always working on updates to search, thousands every year. Which brings up a big question. How do we decide whether a change is making search more helpful? Well, one of the ways we evaluate potential updates to search is by asking people like you. Every day, thousands of search quality raters look at samples of search results side by side, then give feedback about the relevance and reliability of the information. To make sure those evaluations are consistent, the raters follow a list of search quality evaluator guidelines. Think of them as our publicly available guide to what makes a good result good. Oh, and one last thing to remember. We use responses from raters to evaluate changes, but they don't directly impact how search results are ranked. So there you have it. Every time you click search, our algorithms are analyzing the meaning of the words in your search, matching them to the content on the web, understanding what content is most likely to be helpful and reliable, and then automatically putting it all together in a neatly organized page designed to get you the info you need. All in, 0.81 seconds? Wow. Anyone else ready for dinner? Interested in learning more? We've got a whole website dedicated to how search works. Just click right here. Want to read the search quality rater guidelines for yourself? Click right here.
that's a really great resource that you can make use of. And actually, Tess has popped the link in the chat because it's one of those videos that you can watch a couple of different times and start to pick up quite a few different bits and bits of information and elements. And it's really important that we understand how search works. Now, this video was from August 2020, I believe, and they usually do an updated one every couple of years that's not been released yet. But this year there was a couple of updates to search. So you can actually find, along with the link there on the screen, where you can read those search quality guidelines. Now, I warn you, it's a hefty PDF document. There's over 200 quality assurance guidelines there for you to actually see and work through. So the core things that are important for you to take from this video, especially if you're right at the beginning of your journey with search, is to start thinking about, okay, value, relative, am I relative to my audience? The actual information that your audience wants to know about, and how can you build that into part of that customer journey? Start with the basics. Consistency and value, super, super important. But I would definitely encourage you to use the 2 links that are on screen there once you've had a look at this video. Now, if we're not in search and our customers are searching for our product or our service, are we potentially missing out on opportunities if we were doing the work in search? Being there is super, super important, especially if we're in a local environment or we're selling a particular service in a local environment. For example, the pizza we just looked for. How many people said in that chat, when I asked you the question, what would you search? Something that contains some kind of geolocation to where you are based. But the question that we get kind of from what you can see on screen is, well, how do we know if customers are actually searching for my product or searching for my services online? And there's a couple of tools that we can use to start gathering information, gathering data, and actually understanding whether this is the case. And the first tool that I want to introduce to you today is called Google Trends. And again, I'm sure that Tessa can pop the link to Google Trends in the chat for you to come and have a look at a later date. Now, Google Trends is a really great tool that you can pull together data on different search terms that are relevant to your industry, relevant to your product, relevant to your services, and have a look at the trends of how real people are searching for those words and terms in Google. Now, you can organize this by country. You can look globally. You can look at one specific country, depending on where you operate. You can also start to compare those search terms. So at the moment, we're looking at one singular search term, plumbers near me, but we could also compare that to the search term, I don't know, how to fix my, or I don't know, kitchen plumbing, maybe as the search term I want to have a look at. And we could compare plumbers near me and kitchen plumbing and see actually what are the words, what are the specific questions or terms that the audience that are looking for this service are actually putting into the search engine. And we can start to then understand, based on real data, what we're not doing in order to appear in a search engine. Now, we want to make sure that the suggestion that we're putting into something like this isn't too specific, because if it's a real specific search term, we might not have enough data to get back in something like Google Trends. But below this graph that we can see, when you scroll down, you also get a bunch of other information that can be super useful, like related search queries, the specific cities in the country that you selected that this search term is the most popular in. So we can start to really break down some really important information that we can use. So that's Google Trends, and a tool that you can start using to understand exactly what terms your audience are searching for. Now, any questions? Let me have a look. There's a question here about translating the live video into French. Now, I do have closed captions on, but I believe they'll come through in English. Tessa might want to have a go at this and just see if it works, but hover over the video and you've got the CC button on the bottom. And I think one of the core translation for the captions is French. So you might be able to see the captions in French. If not, there is a Google Translate and a extension that you can put into Chrome, which has a feature where you can then download sort of a transcript of whatever you're watching in a browser. Any other questions come through? Let me have a look. I can't see any at the moment. I will come back to any questions though. I'm going to have 2 more pausing for question slots. So if you have got a question, don't worry about it. I will be right back with you after our part 2. So starting to think about, right, we understand how search works and we've got some tools that we can use to start understanding our customers, but actually where do we start building that presence? And there's a number of different places that we can do. Where can your business be found in that search engine? First of all, we've got search itself, but actually within this search engine results page, or the SERP, you might hear this called the SERP, S-E-R-P, we've got different things that appear to us. On the right-hand side, you can see a business listing. That's a Google business profile. We have our organic search results. We've got our paid, our ad search results. And of course, at the top there, that is where our search query goes. So there's a number of different places that we can actually be seen on search, and we can start competing for that prime position against our competitors. 3 places, 3 core places we can be found when it comes to being found on Google: organic search, in our business listings, or within paid search. And I'm going to break these down one by one, so we've got a bit more of an example. Search engine optimization might be a buzzword that many of you have heard, SEO. Now, this is the practice of increasing the quantity and quality of traffic to your website through those organic search engine results, which are the ones on our search engine results page where we are first without paying for an ad to get there. Now, this is what relates to those signals in that video that we just watched in terms of the algorithms, making sure they put the most relevant content in front of the searcher in the time it takes to make a search. Now, there's over 200 signals, as I said before, to actually determine how that page ranks. Some of the most important ones are relevancy, keywords, super important. I'm going to cover a little bit more about that in a second. But no matter what search engine you're using, it doesn't have to just be Google. All of them work in a really similar way. Their primary goal is to help that searcher, that user, find the information that they're looking for, depending on what they're searching. Now, if you can help the search engine decide that your website, your business is the thing that's going to help that person find what they're looking for, that's the goal. And we can do that by making improvements to our website to make sure that we're starting to appear in what we call those organic search results. And this is what we call search engine optimization. And it involves helping Google or helping a search engine find our site, but also understand exactly what is on that site. And that's why keywords are such an important part of this. So when someone visits Google or a search engine and they type in a word or a phrase, search query, we then get that list of relevant results. If we can start to use those relevant keywords that we can start to understand that our audience are using, we're letting Google know that we're providing answers to the questions that our user is searching for. Now, there's no shortcut for anything to do with SEO, search engine optimization. Don't know what's happened there. There you go. So there's no shortcut when it comes to search engine optimization and improving our site's visibility. There's absolutely no shortcut. It is something that takes time, it takes consistency, and it takes our research, which is why our optimization for success best practices here, keyword research. Run some keyword research. Start discovering exactly what words, what phrases people are looking for when they're looking for your products, your services within your industry. Once you've started to understand the language behind those search queries, those keywords, you can then start to make sure that your on-page optimization for SEO, you're publishing useful, high-quality content. You're making sure that things like your meta description or your title, your captions for photographs, and all of the ways that you can label up your site, you're making your web pages search engine friendly, because you're using those words and those keywords to really understand and communicate with the search engine. Look, this is what we do, and we know that people are searching for these areas. Now, remember that tool I gave you is just one tool, Google Trends. That's a great place to start finding the trends for what people are searching for in Google in regards to specific search terms. Now, there's also another great tool that I find really, really interesting called Answer the Public. And I'm sure Tessa can share that link for you. Now, it is, again, a free tool that you can use. You might be selling chocolate, so you could type in chocolate into this tool, and it will give you a big list of all of the types of questions that people are asking Google about that topic or about that keyword that you've typed in. So there's loads of different places you can start looking for this research. Another great place that's another Google tool is the Google Keyword Planner, which is part of Google Ads. So that's another great tool for you to use to start thinking about how you can understand what words people are searching for in terms of their popularity and how often they're searched for in a search engine. But we want to take our keywords a step further, because actually what we found is people who are searching for very top level keywords like the list on the left hand side actually don't have a high intent of purchase. And as that customer journey, remember we had those 3 steps. We have the curiosity, it starts with search, we've got decision process, and then we've got the engagement. Well, actually, when people are first searching, they seem to use search terms like trainers, shoes for nurses, trail running shoes, comfortable shoes, right? Those very top level, broad keywords, short keywords, as you can see them on the screen. But the more we research and the more we start to understand exactly what we want as a customer, and our intent to purchase goes higher, we start to use something called long tail keywords, which are slightly longer phrases that show intent, that we know exactly what type of product we are looking for. And as an example, to pull one out there, trainers, rather than searching just for trainers, we have done our research, we're in our decision process now as a consumer, and we're actually making searches like best running trainers for flat feet. So if you as an organization actually have a specific niche audience that you're reaching out to, you can start to create valuable content, not just around those very broad keywords, which is still important to have some of those within pieces of content that you're creating, but you can also combine that with some niche key phrases or key long tail keywords, which can range phrases between kind of 3 to 5 words that are a bit more specific about the type of product or service that you sell, to really get in front of the right people that have higher intent to buy, because they're in the decision process part of their journey rather than their curiosity phase. Now, another great tool I want to introduce to you here is Google Search Console, which is a fantastic free tool that allows you to actually start to monitor your website, if you've got one, in the organic search results. So there's 2 primary functions to Google Search Console. The first one is thinking about performance in the organic search results and how that's working. And as part of that function, there's also in terms of the questions around where do we get these keywords, there's also a search query list that once we've had this connected to our website for a little while, it starts to gather data on exactly what phrases people have searched for before they clicked on our website, which is invaluable data. So Google Search Console connects to your website. You can connect that yourself by going to the link on the screen, g.go search console. And there's also if you type into Google, Google Search Console, Google support, there's actually a fantastic, in the, I think it's called the developers support side of it, or the search developers, there is a fantastic step-by-step how to get started with Google Search Console. And it even breaks it up into categories where you select, I'm a beginner, I'm advanced, I don't want to have to do much with this, but I just want to get it started. And it walks you through step by step how to set up your Google Search Console account. So it's actually a very great resource in the Google support resources there. But the second function of Google Search Console is actually a little bit more technical. So it lets us know about any bugs on our website. It also lets us see how Google as a search engine sees our site and monitors our site for any of those problems. So things like content that's not been indexed. So Google, for example, if you remember that video, Google's indexing all of those pages on the site. And if our page isn't indexed, then Google Search Console can tell us this Google doesn't know this page exists, so it's never going to be seen. It's not part of the search the Google search library. Imagine like an index that we used to have at a library with all the color codes and the numbers. Well, if our page isn't part of that index, then it's never going to be seen by human eyes. So we can use Google Search Console to find keywords, but we can also use it to do a little bit of a diagnostic on what our website's currently doing and how we can gain more insight into how search sees our site. Now, the next way that we can start thinking about getting in front of our audience is with something that we call local SEO. So everything we've just covered is SEO, search engine optimization. But with the development of this search term that we found already in today's session, near me, this geographical location-based search, local SEO is all about starting to increase our visibility for businesses in a community. So that when we have a physical bricks and mortar store or a place where people are going to come and meet us and visit us face to face, we've got a physical location in places like a map. Now, the online listing that is part of the tools that we're talking about today is our Google Business Profiles. And this is a great way to actually start connecting with your customers online and get listed in other local directories. And it's going to allow us to do things like collect reviews, post photographs, collect photographs from real customers and their experience, show people how far away, so the distance, and also provide valuable information like contact information too. Now, our Google Business Profile can be found in Google Maps, but also in Google Search. And with mobile search on the rise, and it's going to continue to grow, it's about half. Mobile searches are about now half of all searches made on Google. So having this physical pin for our local SEO is going to help us get in front of those local audience, local customers in a much better way. Now, 4 very quick steps to creating a Google business listing. But what I will say here is we have a session that is all about, and it's called Find Your Customers with Google Maps. Now, that session is solely focused on setting up and some of the features that are on this Google business listing. So if this is something that you've never heard of and you want more information about, please do have a look on our website and book up for that next session. That's Find Your Customers with Google Maps, because we talk about this tool in a lot of detail, more detail than I have time to go into today. But as a very quick overview, you can create this profile in 4 quick steps. You're going to go to the g.co or business.google.com, or you can just Google Business Profile. Once you're there, you're going to select to sign up, and you're going to select or add your business into that. It's like filling out a form. So I'll ask you, what's the name of your business? And you can fill that in. Once you've done that, there's a process for you to follow along with, where it'll ask information about your business, a business category, how do you operate. Sometimes it'll ask for things like your business number, your email, that kind of thing, to start filling out your profile. Before you can actually post your profile live and start collecting reviews and start posting photos and posts and taking advantage of all the features of a Google business listing, you will also then need to finally verify your listing. Now, this happens most often via a postcard that the Google business profile will send to you in the post. Now, there's a few businesses that potentially operate from a home address and don't want their address visible in the Google business profile, and that's okay. But you still have to have an address that you have access to put into the profile when you set it up. And then what you can select is an option that says hide my address from the public. The address that you put in as your business address will then be sent the postcard. Once you've sent that into the postcard, you can then, it will send you like a 5-digit verification code. You can come back into your Google business profile dashboard, press verify now, input the 5-digit code, and that will have verified that that business address is you. It's a real business, and you're not creating a fraudulent profile. Once you have that profile verified and open, it's really important that you show people that you're active. You make sure that any business information is as up to date as possible. The profile itself is as high quality as it can be. You've got your number, you've got photos. Maybe if you've got a bricks and mortar store, you want to add something like a virtual tour. And if you are collecting those reviews, make sure you're replying to everything that comes through, whether it is good or bad. Super, super important. I don't know about you, and again, give me an emoji in the chat. It's been a while since I had some interaction. If you look at the reviews of a business and you see that they've only ever replied to the good reviews but ignored all the bad ones, tell me how you feel. Do you still go with that business, or does it make you also do a little bit of research elsewhere? How does that make you feel when you see that? Tell me in the chat, and tell Tessa as well. I'm sure she'd love to hear that, because it's really interesting to see what people think about that. When you look at other businesses and you see that, they've only replied to the good reviews, how does that make you feel? That'd be really interesting to find out. While you're telling us in the chat, I'm also going to move into our third way of being found, which is search engine marketing, SEM. And this is the paid advertising. And this is where we use that paid advertising to make sure that our business products or services are visible in that SERP, in that search engine results page. Really, really important. So if we go back to that image, and I can see Jason, makes me do a bit of research to be sure. Yeah, interesting. So when we come back to that search engine results page, you can see at the top, we have those ad slots where we can put our what they're called. I can see all the comments coming through. I distracted myself with an emoji that came through from Claire there. A crying one. Suspicious. How do they deal with bad days? Yeah, exactly, Claire. Like super, super suspicious, right? It makes us think, hang on a minute. Like how, if I had a problem and I need their help, are they going to help me? And we sort of are less trusting. So it's really important to reply to both good reviews and bad reviews there. So if we come back to our search engine results page, at the top of the page, there are areas where there are particular ad slots available. And in each page of a search engine results page, there's up to 7 ad slots available. Tends to have 4 at the top and up to 2, 3 at the bottom. There's not always 7 per page because, again, remember, Google or any search engine's main priority is to give you the most relevant search results. And sometimes that means not giving you an ad because there are no ads that are relevant to your search. So it will never just give you ads for the sake of it. So the top 4 tend to be the most competitive slots because they're right at the top. That's where people are going to see it straight away at the top of a search engine results page. In terms of creating a search ad, now again, because of time, I don't have loads of time to go into this. So we're keeping this very, very top level here, but we do have a fantastic ad session called Get Started with Google Ads that you can actually join and go through all the different types of ads that we can create in Google Ads. So I implore you to book onto that if this is something you want to know more about. But the step-by-step process, create a campaign in Google Ads. So we're going to sign up for our Google Ads account. I'm going to make sure that we're connected and ready to go. And we've got all the right information, which we're prompted to do when we set up that account. We're then going to go into the Create New Campaign button. It's a big blue button. We can't miss it. And then we're going to choose our campaign goal. We're going to make sure we understand we want to achieve more website clicks. We want to achieve more leads, whatever it is that you have as a campaign goal. And we're going to, for the purposes of a search ad, we're then going to select search ad as our type of campaign that we're going to create. Now, the next step, once we've filled out all of the information in regards to what our budget is, our target audience, our geographical location, which is, again, it's like filling out a form. We can really explore and browse options when it comes to our audience and who we want to target in that first step. The next step is starting to think about those keywords, that research that we did on keywords that we want to bid on in order to appear in one of those top slots in a search engine results page. And this is where tools like Google Keyword Planner, which I mentioned earlier, that you can access via your Google Ads account, come in super, super handy, because what we can do is we can see how many people are searching for particular words, and we can also check the value of that word. So it will give us a lowest bid price that this word is going to cost per click, and it will also give us the highest amount that this word is going to cost us to use as part of our ad. So we can also start to check the value of those keywords in Google Keyword Planner to know whether this is a word we can use that's within our budget. Once we've got all our keywords together, we can then start to build a compelling ad. Again, remember, we want to include those words about what your customer really wants as part of that ad copy. We want to use those keywords, but we don't want to overstuff the copy so it feels fake. We want to make sure we're using them organically and it feels authentic. And remember, you can always experiment. You don't have to use the same ad and the same words every single time. You can start to experiment with your copy and see what really compels your audience to click on your ads. And that brings me to my second pausing for questions. So the comment I didn't see there was from John. Answers to bad reviews are as revealing as the business's ethics as to good ones. Yeah, I absolutely agree there, John, because and I've seen this so many times, right, where we see businesses that just get answering bad reviews so wrong, and it either makes us laugh and we sort of think, oh awkward, but actually it doesn't make us trust the business at all, because we start to reflect, like, if I had a problem, is this business going to help me fix this problem? And really, when we see those bad reviews responded to in a negative way or not responded to at all, it's really difficult to sort of move past that and build trust. Now, remember, you can pop questions in the chat. Tessa is there, ready and waiting. She's got loads of great links to share to you as well. But the final section of today's session is all about taking it a step further and boosting our presence when it comes to Google. The first thing to really start thinking about is actually optimizing your website for different devices. Now, we talked a little bit about the kind of impact of mobile search and how we are starting to really work on that, and how that's starting to impact us. But it's also really important to make sure your website is what we call mobile first. A mobile friendly site is going to allow us to appear in front of more people. And actually now, with some of those updates to how Google ranks websites, if your website is not mobile compatible, it's not mobile first as the language that Google uses, then actually that can impact your website's overall ranking in the search engine, because about 50% of all searches are now done on a mobile. So is your website optimized to be able to use on a mobile? does it look great? Is it are the buttons easy to click? Is it easy to navigate? Really, really important. Now, the website on the screen has actually been sunset, but what I do want to recommend is a different tool that you can use called Page Speed Insights. So it's a website called Page Speed Insights, and I'm sure Tessa can dig that out for you and pop it in the chat. And very similar to the Test My Site website, it will give you a overview, a breakdown of your performance of your site. So how quickly it loads, what size files are, and any problems or things that you can improve that are impacting how mobile friendly your site is. So that one there is pagespeedinsights.com. And there's also a Google tool that's part of the Google Search Console suite called the Mobile Friendly Test. Really simple name. That also you can use to make sure that your website is optimized for a mobile device. And both of these tools also then give you kind of recommendations on what you can do to improve in these areas. Claim and verify your business listing. Like I spoke about this a second ago, but more than 90% of people are searching online to find information related to a business. So if you've got that Google business listing, you can start to really make sure you've verified your listing and you've edited those details, you've started adding photos, you're responding to those reviews like we've talked about. And as you grow, you can also manage your Google business profile like a social media page. You can add managers, you can add people in to start posting relevant content to your audience. As part of the Google business kind of profile suite, there's also this great option. So if you're here today and you're thinking, I haven't even got a website, I'm at the beginning of my journey. Well, good news, as part of your Google business listing, you can actually create a very simple website via the Google business listing dashboard. You can see on the menu there, you've got website completely for free. And what it will do is it will drag in anything that you've included in your Google business listing automatically over to this free site that you can create. And it's created via Google Sites. Now, if you want a domain, that's your own. So you don't want, so automatically when you create this free website, it will be whatever your company name is, and the ending of that website will be .business.site. Now, if you do want to still have your business.com, .co.uk, wherever you're based, then you can still separately pay for your domain per year in the normal way, and then connect your own domain into your free website. So that is actually possible for you to do as well. It's completely up to you how you do that. Now, this kind of Google Sites is a great opportunity for those of you that are here today that don't have a website, and actually creating a website is a step further than you're ready to go, but you want a physical landing page that really showcases everything that you've got to offer. So definitely check that out. In terms of that listing itself, make sure you're optimizing that listing the best you can. Make sure you're adding things like your opening hours, you're categorizing those photos. So you can actually categorize them into interior photos, exterior photos, but also then your customer photos or identity in photos of staff working with customers. So you can really, really make use of that to attract customers. And again, not to say it for the fifth to sixth time here, make sure we are building trust within those reviews. Another feature that's really great is using our posts in our Google business profile to actually tell customers what's new, what we've got going on. You can see that we can have a call to action, so we can get people to book, we can get people to sign up to something through those posts and use them as a sort of mini blog posts that are attached to our profile. And finally, our Google business profile comes with a set of insights that we can use as real data to continue to make those business decisions based on fact, based on what people are looking at, what people are clicking on, and how people are interacting with what we set up in this profile. Now I can see one last question and we have 1 minute. So do clicks on paid Google ads help SEO for our website? Now that question is a little bit confused, Jason, because paid Google ads and SEO, search engine optimization, are two different channels of part of your overall marketing plan. But in terms of the clicks of your website, whether it is SEO, so in the organic results, or the paid ads results, which are two different things. So in paid, the click-through rate, which is the measurement, doesn't have a direct impact on how that page is ranked. However, so it's not the measurement itself that has an impact, but what is important is the kind of follow through with that click. So with ads, we're monitoring, right, yes, this many people have clicked on the website, but then we're looking at the further journey, right? So from how many clicks, how many people have purchased. With our organic, our SEO, it's not contributing to the ranking of our website. However, what we are looking for and what Google is monitoring is how many people have clicked and then left straight away because the website is not relevant. So it's really important that when people do click through, the page that they're coming to isn't slow, is relevant, is talking about the right topic that they're expecting to read about, and we've got those answers. So it's not necessarily the clicks themselves, but it's kind of what triggers and comes after that. I hope that makes sense. Now I'm going to wrap up there. In terms of your next steps, please remember you've got this one-to-one mentoring available from Google. We're going to pop the chat again, the link again into the chat, g.co/UK mentoring. Look forward to seeing you there and helping you through anything specific with your own business or maybe your business idea. And finally, we love to hear your feedback. So we've got a feedback link there, go.co/digital garage feedback. We want to know what else can we do to help you get the information that you need and really, really take that forward in your organizations. Other than that, thank you so much. Thanks for all of your engagement. Thank you for getting as involved as possible. I love it when I've got an audience that I feel like I'm actually having a conversation with you. And thanks for sticking with me for those extra 2 minutes. Other than that, have a fantastic day, fantastic weekend. And I look forward to welcoming you to many more Google Digital Garage training sessions in the future. Goodbye.